up by Signet. Good morning. I'm Nate Gardner with SEN News. The music world is paying tribute to the godfather of heavy metal, Ozzy Osbourne. The Black Sabbath frontman has passed away aged 76. He had been living with Parkinson's since 2019. Channel 9's Hannah Sinclair says Ozzy was known as a hell-raising performer during his rock star heyday.
Including, of course, that moment he bit the head off a live bat on stage. During his career, Osbourne was inducted into the UK Music and the US Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He also has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
A Perth man will spend the next 16 months behind bars after what's been described as a prank gone wrong at a Bunnings store. Paul Andrew Hart claims he accidentally set off a pepper spray-like substance instead of a fart spray, which was also in his pocket. The incident sent almost a dozen people to hospital. The federal government is promising a 20% cut to HECS as the new federal parliament begins considering proposed legislation today. 4 telcos have been issued formal warnings for failing to comply with rules designed to protect customers struggling to pay their internet and phone bills. Optus Mobile, Origin Energy, SkyMesh and Swoop Telecommunications have been found to have been in the wrong after an Australian Communications and Media Authority investigation. And a global medical study has found psychedelics and cannabis could positively manage symptoms of eating disorders. Up next, sen.com.au sport. Eddie Maguire has proposed a bold revamp of the AFL fixture that would see each team play each other once before 4 weeks of rivalry matches. The first ball is due to be bowled soon in the second T20 between the West Indies and Australia, and Jake Weatherald has put his hand up for national selection as an opening bat after making 183 for Australia A against Sri Lanka A in Darwin.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Yes, good morning. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall on this Wednesday, the 23rd of July. A big hello to you, wherever you may be listening on your local SEN track dial or the SEN app, or you're watching us streaming live these days on the SEN app, our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. Big Wednesday show coming your way. Ozzy Kerr, he's one of the superstars of the sport. He owns most of the good horses anyway, including Jimmy Start, who was last night announced as a confirmed starter for the Everest, the world's richest race. He'll be representing the Tab, so we'll catch up with Ozzy from the top. Chris Waller, the champion trainer, he made a couple of big announcements there yesterday that Darren Beeben, the champion rider who's been working with Godolphin, will now join his team. And he's also announced that he'll be heading into the Godolphin stables in Melbourne at Carbine Lodge, those famous stables. So looking forward to catching up with Chris. We'll talk some greyhound racing with some big Group 1s happening at the Meadows on Saturday night. Brock Nealing from the from Perth Racing. Of course, he's the boss of the track there. He's the track manager. He'll join us to give us an update what's happening at Belmont. They return to racing there at Belmont on Saturday. We've got trial time with trial guy Matty Morton and also Dean Watling. We'll find you a few winners with a big bag of tips today. And, of course, in the final hour, it is Love It or Leave It, as we talk about the hot topics in the sport of thoroughbred racing with Sam Hyland and Mickey Gannon. Giddy Up brought to you by Bet365, because it's never ordinary when it's brought to you by Bet365. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Well, the big news last night was the announcement that this horse is heading to the Everest.
Sunshine in Paris broadsiding. Jimmy Star is looking to slice through as Briasa went up to claim the front now. 200 to go. Briasa a length and a half clear from Sunshine in Paris. Jimmy Star, Jolly Star late. It's Briasa in front. Jimmy Star levels up. Jimmy takes the shot and won the all-age stakes. Jimmy Star beat Jolly Star and Sunshine in Paris.
Jimmy Star, there's no doubt about that. He had a wonderful campaign last time around, taking out the all-age stakes over the 1,400 metres, but now the Tab have locked him up for the world's richest race, the Everest, in the spring, and Aussie Kerr. His owner joins us now on the line. Aussie, thanks very much for joining us, mate. Congratulations.
Thanks, Gareth. Thanks to be on board.
Was it an easy negotiation with the Tab? How'd you go with Gil?
Look, they were great. To be honest, we had an expectation as owners on what we thought Jimmy's sort of pecking order would be in the Everest, and we probably negotiated, on par, a fair deal between the owners and Tab. So no, they were pretty good, pretty easy to work with.
So I find that fascinating in a way, the dealings behind the closed doors when it comes to locking in a slot for the Everest. Obviously, you need to get the right deal for you. Do you enjoy that as an owner? I guess it's a different side of the game that it's a privilege, I would imagine, to be involved in, because you've obviously got a good horse that's good enough to go into an Everest like that.
Look, it's probably the part that I enjoy the most,
yeah.
To be honest, Gareth. I like the sort of the behind-the-scenes stuff, and negotiating and sort of doing that stuff is quite rewarding for myself. So I enjoyed that. Those discussions were going on for about 3 weeks. We had as you'd expect, we had a few interested parties, and it was sort of just going through what we thought was the right deal for us and the right partner, and Tab come on top. And to be fair to Tab, look, we sort of had a view of what we wanted, and they had a look at it and come back to us, and pretty much was in line with our expectations. It was pretty smooth, and it was all wrapped up pretty quickly.
I'd love for this to be captured on camera in a way, because I think it's a situation where it adds a little bit of drama to this beautiful sport, because there's not just negotiations about what kind of deal you're going to get. I don't know, is there negotiations regarding who gets the trophy and the race colours and little factors like that, Aussie?
Yeah, definitely. Every slot holders sort of has different requests and different needs. With the Tab, they were pretty good. They sort of pretty much gave us what we sort of wanted, so there wasn't too much haggling. And look, they came back with a fair deal. Look, we sort of had to compromise a little bit on our end. But yeah, look, it is good fun. I enjoyed it, and they were pretty easy to work with in the sense of, open to any of our requests and so forth. And look, on the flip side, you've got to also be willing to sort of participate in what they need from the slot. So the Tab's probably got different requirements than someone who's into it a lot more for the commercial reasons. So, every slot's different, and like we had probably 3 that we were talking to. Actually, it was 3, and each one of those slot holders had different views of how they wanted the deal. So it's all good. It's
a game within a game. I guess you would love your own slot in an Everest. You got a slot nearly every other slot race around Australasia.
No, look, then I would have to be negotiating with myself against the owners, which wouldn't be fun. So
no,
I thought about it and then thought, I don't think I want to be negotiating with myself. So the way it works out is probably better for us. With the group of owners we've got, I sort of did the best I could. I had Matt assisting me in that negotiation.
Yeah.
The owners were all pretty happy. Look, we've got a great bunch of owners which pretty much let us sort of do our thing so they don't get too involved until we sort of got to the end of it. And once we got to the end of it, they were all pretty happy. So happy day for everyone.
Jimmy Starr's been some buy.
Oh, look, he's been, like, he wasn't, it's been reported he wasn't an expensive buy. I actually feel like I owe $20,000 because I think that was the haggle at the end, which for us going ahead or not going ahead. So at the end of the day, we were nearly not going to buy him for the sake of $20,000.
So if it's okay, how much was he? I think it's been reported.
He was less than the average, yield price that you'd buy. So he wasn't expensive, and like I said, we nearly didn't go ahead with the deal for the sake of $20,000 to show you how the price was. It wasn't expensive, but now I feel like I have to go back now and maybe if he wins the Everest, I might have to throw that $20,000 back to the trainer and owner because I feel a bit bad about it now. But no, they've all been great since we've done the deal. Even the original trainer, he's amazing. He's followed him along the way, always reaches out, and it shows good interest, guys. So, they've been good.
I know one man that's over the moon is Sam Williams. He's a great friend of ours here at SEN Track with Little Avondale and Perencano is his pride and joy. And you've got a couple of beauties, haven't you, from that side that you purchased from New Zealand?
Yeah, they've been great. We bought them. It's interesting. We bought both Jimmy and
Gringotts
at similar times. I think Gringotts was just over after a trial, and Jimmy had a couple of starts. And look, they're probably our two best horses, both by Perencano. So, and they've been great to deal with. That Sam Katrina. So look, we've had a good relationship, and it's good times. And I think they're probably their two standout horses in Perencano. I think they're the two flat bearers at the moment.
No,
so,
I totally agree. I reckon they're nearly the Kieran's two best horses at the moment in a way too. Jimmy Starr will be aimed up at an Everest, and I think he's got big plans for Gringotts as well this spring.
Yeah, Gringotts. Yeah. Look, we'll go down the way for age path with Gringotts, and he might kick off in a week stakes, and we'll sort of target, potentially Charles on the last day, and like who knows between there what we get. But here's another horse. Both those horses, look, you'd like to say when you buy them, and it's easy to say now that we knew they were Group 1 horses, but we never bought them really thinking they were going to be this good. I for one, I wouldn't be haggling over 20 grand if we thought they were Group 1 horses. That's for sure. So look, they've been fantastic. Kieran's done a great job with both of them. We've had to be patient. They've been very frustrating early days, as everyone knows with Giddy. He's such a quirky horse. Like, I remember speaking to Blake after one of the runs, and he goes, "This horse is like you." I go, "What?" He goes, "He's got ADHD." I go, "What?" He goes, "Mate, he can't concentrate. He's got." I'm going to the barriers. His head's flipped the other way. He even told me he was eating grass between the barriers.
Yeah.
He had a few issues.
He's one of us.
So exactly. So he's sort of got it all together now, and as my wife would say, he's learned to manage his ADHD better. So,
well, I like it. They can be genius. People with ADHD. Sounds like he's got what I've got, inattentive ADHD, which can
exactly.
you got to keep your mind on the job sometimes. But I reckon that's one of my favourite stories from the beaten jockeys. What happened there, mate? Well, he started to eat grass when the gates crashed back. Like that's one excuse I haven't heard before.
Yeah, well, you've got to keep him distracted. Was what Blake said. You just got to keep him distracted. You just got to keep him busy and keep him distracted. Otherwise, he lives it. But look, that's the one thing about Jimmy. He's always had the ability. He's always had, even from his first couple of starts. I think the difference now with Jimmy Starr is he's actually mentally got it right, which can take some time for these New Zealand bred horses. We've learned that. They get better at 4 and 5, and he's now also been able to really put on some serious muscle. He looks unbelievable. He does look like a sprinter now, and I'm glad the trainers don't. I'm not glad Kieran doesn't listen to me too much. I mean, he does every now and then, but not that often. If he listened to me, we wouldn't be in the Everest, because I could not have seen Jimmy Star being a sprinter in any way. He kept telling me, I want to run him out of 1100. I'm like, no way, you're mad. The miler.
Yeah.
He's been right there, and he's proven me wrong.
And I reckon it's a perfect setup in a way. I know it's a long way out from an Everest, but when you've got the power of Kane Rising in that race, your horse is looking for a solid tempo, 1,200 metres up that rise there at Randwick. It might just suit him down to the ground. Like in last year's Everest when they walked, it probably wouldn't have suited him, but hopefully the race setup will be to his liking this time.
Yeah, look, I sort of think Kane Rising is going to leave nothing for chance. Like it's a quality horse in the field. It's not going to take any chances. I believe that they will be off and going. The tempo will be on and it will suit him. But even if you haven't got really genuine speed, I think the Everest is always run at a quicker tempo than most 1,200 metres anyway. Just by the sheer quality of the field. So look, I know he's a get-back horse, but he's also able to be closer. And this year we tried to have him. I think in the All Age we had him sort of midfield, and he won that Group 1. So he's pretty versatile. It's just when he jumps, it's really about how he jumps, because he's normally okay once he gets you off.
Have you got a horse that we don't know too much about that we should be following in the spring?
Look, there's one I like, and you probably wouldn't know too much about it because it was sort of a New Zealand horse. But we have a horse called Like a Lucy. I really have a big opinion of that filly. Look, I think she had a really big campaign. She had like 8 starts in her first in one prep, and I really think she got to the end of it. And she ran really well against Treasure of the Moment, sort of posted wide and so I think that there's some exciting times with her. Look, we've got one at Kerins, and I think this is the next, I hope it is, the next Jimmy Star or Gringotts, being sort of those backward New Zealand type older horses that sort of mature with age, and that's a horse called Sergeant Major. Now, look, he hasn't probably shown as much as I would like so far, but I just think he's one of those ones that, this year, look out for him. I think he's on the improve. So they're probably 2 that I'd like to see go on this spring. But yeah, look, having Jimmy and Gringotts is not a bad way to enter the spring.
Yeah, so Like a Lucy and Sergeant Major, we'll jot those 2 horses in our black book. The last one before we let you go, we had an interesting discussion with Will Bourne there yesterday with Breeding Bloodstock and Banter, and he was indicating that, geez, it's difficult to buy a European stay these days with the Australian dollar and the competitive nature now of that market, especially with the Middle East money. Have you found that you've been buying less from Europe these days and looking elsewhere?
Yeah, look, we haven't bought a horse out of Europe. We don't normally buy. I mean, it looks like we buy a lot out of Europe, but we don't. We probably only buy 1 or 2 a year.
Okay.
We just seem to be lucky to buy the 1 or 2 that seem to be in the headlines, which is probably a good thing. But we don't buy much, and this year we haven't bought anything. Look, it is very expensive. If you just look at the Melbourne Cup market, the top 3 horses in the Melbourne Cup market, I don't think there's a horse there under 3 million Aussie. I think they start at 3 million or 3.5 million upwards. So it is expensive to be able to get those quality horses. Even handicappers, where you used to be able... Look, weight for age horses have always been expensive. And rightly so, they should be. But look, buying a handicapper, you used to be able to buy a handicapper at a good price, and then hope that it continues to improve. Maybe 1 out of 5 are actually any good at the end of it when you're buying these handicappers, because they're progressive horses. But these days it's really hard. We haven't bought anything. I don't think there's been that much bought. I think Gates bought 1. There hasn't been a huge... Yeah, I'm finding it extremely difficult, but we haven't put any genuine real offers in on anything we'd like so far. So, we're happy if we'll only buy what we think is good enough. We're not probably the group that will just buy for the sake of buying. So we're happy to wait, and nothing there will we'll just go with what we've currently got. So.
There's been a few people texting, and I'll only give you a couple, and I apologise. We've got to let Aussie go. Nadal, what's his plans this time in?
Yeah, so Nadal, he's another horse that's got so much ability and he's an exciting horse. But at the moment, we're just going really slow with him because he's had issues along the way. That's why he hasn't been running so consistently. So we sort of get into the races, have us a couple of runs, and he goes a little bit sore. So we're just managing that with sort of beach work and slower work. But he's in training now, so he shouldn't be too far. And he's just a race-by-race proposition for us. So. And
the major aim for Sergeant Major, his major target?
Oh, look, it's probably too early to tell yet. I just want to get him out there and winning. So, it depends on how much he improves and whether he ends up being as good as we're hoping or expecting. So it's only early days yet. But right now, I'll just be happy for him to just go through the grades and continue to improve like we did with Jimmy. Yeah. Jimmy was just running in those benchmark races. So I'm happy to follow that path and be patient with him.
And Timmy said, I know Aussie, I think, loves his trot, said he watched Leap to Fame when they entered Dominion.
I didn't. I'm sorry, Lee. No, I didn't. I was a big trots fan. I started in the trots with a couple of good mates. So, but no, I didn't.
Leap to Fame. I think he's the best pacer we've ever seen in a way. So you should go and watch that replay, Aussie. I reckon you might like it, mate.
I will go back to it.
All right. Gay, mate, we appreciate your time. You deserve all the success that comes your way, but I can't wait to see what Jimmy can do next preparation. And, well done getting that slot nice and early. And I think he starts in the shorts and then goes second up into the Everest. I read?
I think that will be the case. And let's hope so. It's great to have a horse that's so popular with punters and the fans. So, it's good for racing.
Yeah, it is, mate. We appreciate your time here on Giddy Up this morning. We really do.
Thanks, Gareth.
There's Aussie Kerr. It's 22 minutes past 8. Champion trainer Chris Waller to join me next here on Giddy Up.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Gareth Hall with you. 0499 736 736. We've got 10 minutes with Chris Waller coming up straight after the news. If you've got a question for the master trainer, let us know. 0499 736 736. It's news time.
Powered by Signet, making SEN News headlines. The music world is paying tribute to the godfather of heavy metal, Ozzy Osbourne, who has passed away aged 76. The federal government promising a 20% cut to HECS debts as the new federal parliament begins considering proposed legislation today. 4 telcos have been issued formal warnings for failing to comply with rules designed to protect customers struggling to pay their internet and phone bills. And a global study has found psychedelics and cannabis could positively manage symptoms of eating disorders. Coming up, sen.com.au sport. Eddie Maguire has proposed a bold revamp of the AFL fixture that would see each team play each other once before 4 weeks of rivalry matches. The first ball is due to be bowled soon in the second T20 between the West Indies and Australia, and Jake Weatherald has put his hand up for national selection as an opening bat after making 183 for Australia A against Sri Lanka A in Darwin.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. Great to be with you on this Wednesday morning. It's always great to catch up with the champion trainer, Chris Waller, who had a couple of big announcements that was made there yesterday by his stable, and he joins us now. Good morning, Chris. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure, Gareth.
First of all, mate, Darren Beeben will be joining your team. Talk us through that process. How excited are you there?
Yeah, very excited. Huge asset to us. Asset to racing, what he has in terms of experience and knowledge and more to offer is quite remarkable. So I think, when he's finishing up at Godolphin, it's one person's it's just a big asset for us, isn't it? He's not lost to the industry, that's for sure, and we're lucky enough to pick him up.
So what will his role be with C. Waller?
I said to him that just shadow myself and Charlie for the first week and work out where we've got weaknesses and help us with those. It's as simple as that. Obviously, it's easy to see where he's strong at, which would be the riding side of things, but he's an amazing horseman. I think even for a while he might have been the caretaker trainer with Godolphin and even trained a Group 1 winner under his own name. So, look, he knows probably more than myself and more than he would have forgotten more than I know. So to be able to utilise him wherever we can has to be a bonus. And I think it'll just take a bit of pressure off myself and Charlie as well, and other team members.
Yeah, I guess that's fascinating. You've achieved so much in this game, but still just listening to you there, I would imagine the secret to your success would be learning to delegate in a way.
Yeah, it is now because we're higher numbers, and the level of my input probably falls away a little bit in comparison to when I had, say, 60 or 70 horses. So, you've got to make up for those inefficiencies and get the best people you can. And he'll help bring other people through in our team as well and help mentor them, and just little things like tracks and how horses need to be ridden, moving horses on quicker. Charlie's learnt in my role, or he's learnt from me, where he's probably learnt to agree with me as well, whereas Darren will come in and probably have some fresh ideas and just say, look, Chris, Charlie, this horse is no good.
Yeah.
You're better off just to move it to a country area, or tell the owners that it might be best placed in a cheaper environment or something like that, or who knows, there'll be endless amounts of things that we'll use Darren for.
Looking at your stats, it's been another wonderful year. You're the leading metropolitan trainer in this country. You're defeating Kira Ma by 23. You're 50 in front of Bjorn Baker in the Sydney Trainers Premiership. But you just recently taken over the most famous stables, one of the most famous stables in Melbourne, Carbine Lodge from Godolphin, and you're ninth on the Melbourne Premiership. Is that a stat you would like to change next season?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Macedon didn't work out well for us. I think it's an amazing facility, amazing. But I think it's a really hands-on type of training environment. And we didn't quite run as well as we did with that. So we closed that, and we've kept all the staff that wanted to stay and sort of relocated to Flemington, but we're under sort of two roofs, and it's a bit dysfunctional training like that. And Carbine Lodge, firstly, it'll help us bring it all together, and secondly, their facilities and space and accommodation for horses is probably second to none from what I've seen recently in Australia. So that's firstly exciting because I want my horses in that type of environment, and secondly, I think it'll just incentivise me to just try and take it up another notch. And previous years, I think we've been much better and further up on the ladder that you touched on. So that's a priority, 100%. If we get sort of top six down there, I suppose it'd be much better.
All right, you had a couple of your superstars trial there yesterday. They pull up all okay?
Yes, touch wood. I've seen them all. I haven't seen them trot up yet, but they all had pretty easy days, Gareth.
Yeah.
Like most of them are 30 days away from racing, so that's 30 days of fitness still to come. So you can imagine they were still pretty soft yesterday, and hence the reason for very quiet trials. The main ones will have a second trial in 2 weeks, and a few tighten up gallops after that too. So it was good for all of us to make sure that we're all in the right mode, getting ready for the spring. The trials are just as good as for the horses as they are for the trainer and the staff.
Yeah, what a team you have. I can't remember a trainer having a lineup that you will be sending out for the spring. I won't go through every horse. I've only got a couple of minutes with you. Autumn Glow. Damo texts me at 8:01 every morning, Damo. He goes, what's Autumn Glow doing, Gareth? Can you find out? So I thought I'll ask Chris today for Damo.
She'll be ready to resume about the 23rd of August. Probably the show Chianti.
Yes.
There's a fillies and mares race the same day. That'll be a first run for the prep, and then we'll find another lead-up race. And I think the Epsom is a highly likely target. What we haven't quite worked out with Autumn Glow is her exact distance. Her first up run might tell us that she could actually be a sprinter. So I want to make that call pretty quickly, but my belief sort of tells me that, or my gut tells me that she's probably an Epsom specialty with a lightweight, and it'll be her year to shine and get that Group 1 under her belt.
Yeah. What's your gut feel with Aliana? Is she Cox Plate or Caulfield Cup horse?
Oh, I don't know. Well, a horse like her, getting to sort of Epsom and Toombul weekend will tell us. So we'll be putting a lot of focus on her first and second up runs. First up run will probably be in the Winks. I try and be a little bit softer with our 4-year-old mares. I call them fillies because I don't think they're fully matured yet, and we tend to shy away from Caulfield Cups because it's just so tempting to go that next step.
Yeah.
And they're still babies, simple as that.
And Woden and Lady Shenandoah.
Woden was great yesterday,
Yes.
and we've got his sort of first final will be the Golden Rose, and he'll have one, possibly two lead-ups into that. He's very forward. He's come back bigger, stronger, as we say, as you'd expect a two-year-old just about to turn 3.
Mm-hmm.
And Lady Shenandoah, she is trialling on Friday, so Warwick Farm Friday, and it's likely that she could resume in the Winks as well.
My trial guys have found one inviolable. This Frankel filly. I see
Yes.
Mr. CJ Waller leads the ownership. So you can tell us where this horse is going, Chris.
Yeah, well, funny thing, James said she's an autumn 3-year-old filly, so we're talking 6 months away.
Okay.
But to do that, like he's talking sort of, she'll be an Oaks filly or a Vinery filly, Group 1. But to do that, we'd probably just pick our path through to, the second tier races in the spring. So she's quite forward, too forward for like a Carbine Club. That's a long way away. But we'll just pick our mark with her. I think she'd just be below the flight stakes, so probably just a second tier in the spring and then step up a notch in the autumn.
And you excited to train for Godolphin?
Yeah, very. They've been my biggest competitor.
Yes, that's what I thought. It'd be a bit weird.
Yeah, so it's been a big thing for Australian racing to have Godolphin racing so successfully over a number of years, taking over from the Inghams. So I guess I've been a winner all round. I got the Inghams to train when Sheikh Mohammed and Godolphin purchased Darley off them from Crown Lodge. And, it's funny to see how things work. We're now training a few for them, not too many, but a few, which we're very grateful for. And it's great to see them share them around. And now we get sort of Carbine Lodge as well. So, it's made to go around, isn't it?
Yeah. Hey, we appreciate your time. I know you're very busy on a Wednesday, so we do really appreciate you giving us a couple of minutes or 10 minutes, Chris. So thanks for that, mate, and good luck going ahead of the spring. And, thanks for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
There's the champion trainer, Chris Waller. It's 20 minutes to 9. We'll take a break. We'll come back with plenty more. We've got to catch up with Brock Nealing, the Belmont track manager in the West, of course, the track manager for Perth Racing. He will join us to give us an update on Belmont. And there's a big greyhound meeting coming up this weekend in Victoria, and Jason Adams and Brad Greener will be my special guest shortly.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. It's 8:45. Some hot action coming up at the Meadows on Saturday night with the Fireball final for the Stayers and the Majority Classic final for the Greyhounds under 2.5 years. It's a terrific lineup as well. Let's catch up with GRV's very own Jason Adams. Hello to you, Jace.
And a very good morning to you as well, G. Yeah, a couple of really good races this Saturday night with the Fireball for the Stayers, and of course the Maturity you touched on, mate. So plenty to get stuck into and look forward to ahead of Saturday night.
And we've got a special guest on the line, Bradley Greeno. He hails from the famous Greeno family. He's got 2 chances in the Group 1 Maturity Classic final on Saturday night. The favourite, Saquon, who was impressive there the other day in Fasten, who's an each way hope, and he joins us now. Bradley, good morning to you.
Good morning, fellas. How you going?
Good, thank you, mate. You've taken over from Cal and Jack. You're now the biggest Greeno in the sport. How does that feel?
I mean, it's been a long time coming, mate. But I think to hand the reins over has been a pretty special moment for me, mate.
So talk us through that process.
I mean, look, I went into dogs very early on in my life. I was 16, working full time with the dogs. So, I mean, it's been a process. I ducked away for a little bit and did my own thing, and then came back when it was time to take over.
Yeah.
And that's been that process. Yeah.
Like we love Jack and Cal on this show, and Wow She's Fast was the greyhound that I reckon Jace transcended the sport of greyhound racing, and she was beautifully prepared by the Greenos. She won a couple of Phoenixes. Bradley, how's she going at the moment?
She's going fantastic. She's still with us. She's had a couple litters of pups, and she's in fantastic health, mate. And she's the most beautiful dog you've ever seen. So, yeah, no, she's great.
Sensational. Who wins the Maturity in your eyes, Jason Adams, on Saturday?
I'll be with Slick Splits, Gareth, from the wide draw. I think that really suits him, and the speed around him's not that intense, but awfully fearful of Saquon from an inside draw. Tough as nails last week, as I'm sure you saw.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a great final. But can you win it, Bradley, with Saquon? How do you get the job done?
I think it's going to be based around how he begins, mate. And look, I know he can begin. He hasn't done it at the Meadows, but look, he's probably knocking on the door for that one good start, mate. And could be the one, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see.
Can you train them? Like, how do you approach that then with a dog that you hope can jump at the Meadows? Like, do you take him to the Meadows this week, or is it just you're just hoping now that after some recent experience he can get the job done?
Look, I think the recent experience is what we're probably hoping for. Look, I'm not going to take him to the Meadows this week, but look, it's just more of a repetition thing, and I'm just praying that he puts it all together. He shaved a bit off his time last week when he got beaten. And look, I just hope for a little bit more improvement this week, and hopefully that can get him over the line, mate. Any
questions for Bradley, Jace?
Well, Brad, just an insight for the listeners out there. I mean, for a dog that's as fast as what he is, he's won on Saturday night, he's qualified for a Group 1 final. What is the actual agenda for him during the week, day to day? What sort of paces do you put him through in the lead up to a G1 final?
So yesterday he had a light gallop in the yard, probably 250 metres. And then, look, that'll be it, Jace. We've checked him out, injury-free. He'll go into that race feeling 100%. And, look, it's just up to him then. It's really just an easy week for him, trying to keep it calm and mellow, and then he can have his rest and recover until, obviously, Saturday.
What about Fasten?
Same deal, exactly the same deal. He had his gallop yesterday. And, just rest and recover until that Saturday final.
Can he win? Can Fasten win, mate?
Oh, look, look, he can begin too, but he hasn't shown it at all in his races, really. So he's only done it in trials, but I think it'll be a big if.
Yeah. Any winners coming up for us this week, apart from those 2 dogs we talked about?
I've got one in on Thursday night at Sandown. She's in race 3, box 1. It's Saquon Super Freaky. Loves the red box, but I don't know, mate. Again, you never know in a dog race, do you?
Oh, thanks for the confidence. We'll have to get you tipping a little bit better since you've taken over from Cal and Jackie, mate. So we'll work on that, but we appreciate your time. Good luck on Saturday.
Thanks very much, boys. See you later.
There's Brad Greeno. What a good young man he is, Jace.
Yeah, he's a great ambassador for the sport. Obviously taking over from some pretty powerful individuals in Cal and Jackie Greeno. But geez, he's sitting on the fence with
he is, isn't he?
With the grain. He's got Sandown super freaky. She was unreal last Thursday night. She'll win this week, no doubt about it. But she'll be very short.
Yes. What about who are you tipping in the Group 1s this weekend, mate?
I'll be tipping slick splits in the maturity. I mean, he's a greyhound that wants to be in that part of the track. There's limited speed around him, and he's on a bit of a snowball at the moment. So I'll be with him, and I'm even more confident on without a trace in the fireball. She was unreal last week, and I've been on her bandwagon for a month now, went in pretty intently, and she hasn't let me down. So I think she'll win the fireball, mate.
Gareth, can you ask Chase when applications open for the Phoenix? I don't know what's happening there.
Corey Smith's the one to ask about that. I think we just tipped over 100 days going back a couple of weeks. So I think it's usually in that August-September region where things really get fair income from Phoenix point of view.
Where's our life gone? It felt like yesterday we had the running of the Phoenix. We're in the second half of the year well and truly now. So the Melbourne Cup will be happening pretty quickly, and the Carnival will arrive once again, mate. It never really ends.
No, it doesn't sleep, does it? We move on from Brisbane, which was an amazing carnival. Didn't have a great culmination, clearly, with the situation with the Q. But we don't muck around. Straight into other features. Before we know it, be $1 million chase time in New South Wales, and then, as you say, Melbourne Cup, Phoenix time down here in Victoria.
I'm talking to your management. Hopefully we might have a bit of a greyhound show that might kick off on Giddy Up shortly anyway. So I'm looking forward to that, Jace. But we appreciate your time as always here on Giddy Up.
Appreciate it, mates. And fingers crossed, love something pretty cool for the racing fans out there in the coming months.
We might stir the pot a little bit. I'll get you, Smithy, Mitchie. We can get Georgie Ferrugia across. It'll be something. We'll have a show.
Yeah, Georgie's itching to be involved, mate. So we'll get something sorted.
We'll get Georgie. I'll get stuck into Georgie. I say, Georgie, welcome back. Welcome back. All right, brother. Thanks for that, Jace. Appreciate it.
Cheers, mate. Enjoy.
There's Jason Adams. We'll take a break. We'll come back and wrap up this first hour here on Giddy Up.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Johnny O'Neill joins us. Johnny, well done with Jimmy Starr. We had Aussie on this morning, mate. Exciting times.
Mate, just incredible. He's done a wonderful job. Him and Matt Becker, he probably mentioned Matty at length, so we're just really lucky to have such a nice horse, mate. And I'm really excited for the ownership group, Peter Cook and Kate and Andy and Jay Steet and Carts and, people that are Barry O'Brien, Sars and Dave and Buckley and Nettlefold, people that have supported us the whole way through. And we're just really lucky to have such a tight sort of knit group of friends that are going to have a nice horse in a bloody big race, mate.
Any tickets? Can you get me any tickets to the Everest?
Well, that's my challenge now, isn't it? I need to...
Tab Marquee, I love it. We'll give a few away.
I reckon you're a moral, mate, if that's the case. I reckon, mate, we'll sort something for you, don't worry.
What colours are you racing in?
Well, what do you mean? We'll be running
Aussie,
in Jimmy's colours, I would have thought.
Yeah,
in Aussies, yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, no, mate. We're very focused in the blue and gold spots. It'll be beautiful.
Who's the horse? Has Millie got a new song for Jimmy yet then?
Well, I don't know whether she has, but I'm sure she'll be mucking around with something behind the scenes.
Tell her
she's like.
We want the exclusive for that. Tell her.
Well, you'll no doubt get it,
yes.
Jay. She loves you, mate. You know that.
Good on you, Jay. We're happy for you, Johnny. You can go and win a bloody Everest now.
Thanks, G. We hope so. All the best. Appreciate it.
See, Johnny, part of our Giddy Up family. Well done. Jimmy Starr into the Everest.
By Signet, good morning. I'm Nath Gardner with SEN News. Fans have gathered at Ozzy Osbourne's star at the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The Prince of Darkness passed away aged 76, 6 years after the Black Sabbath singer was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. This fan telling Nine his style formed the heavy metal sound.
He started it all. That's how I became a follower way back in my teens. So if it weren't for him, he was, an institution, and it's a sad day around the world.
South Australian police will resume the search for the head of Port Lincoln man Julian Story. The 39-year-old was allegedly murdered in June by his former reality TV star partner Tamika Chesser. Police say they've identified several additional search sites in and around Port Lincoln. Today marks 7 years until the opening ceremony of the Brisbane 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games. A new report's estimated it will pump more than $70 billion into the national economy. President of the organising committee, Andrew Liveris, has told Nine it's all systems go.
A day of celebrations and a mile marker on our journey. 7 years is when you traditionally find out about getting the bid and winning the bid. And so here we are with a lot of things going on and a lot to celebrate.
And new research reveals 1 in 5 Aussie drivers admit they have disabled or turned down their car safety systems because they find them annoying or distracting. Those causing the most annoyance, lane assist and departure warnings and auto emergency braking. Coming up next, SEN Sport. A landmark case looms at the AFL Tribunal tonight that's divided footy pundits. The AFL is seeking a 3-game ban for D's backman Stephen May over a collision with Carlton's Francis Evans. In rugby, the British and Irish Lions have defeated a First Nations Pacifica team 24-19 at Marvel Stadium, and all eyes on Kingston, Jamaica for this morning's T20 match between the West Indies and Australia.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. The Western Whip Around. Tune in to Racing WA TV on 7+, your ultimate destination for everything racing in the West.
Well, it's great to see racing back at Belmont on Saturday. Brock Nealing, who's the track manager for Perth Racing, joins us now and Giddy Up to kick off our next hour. Still to come, we'll find you some winners with Bag of Tips today in trial time with Matty Morton and Dean Watling as we look back at those brilliant set of trials in Sydney, especially yesterday. And then Mickey Harvey will join me. Of course, the owner of Hesitate is going to slot and harness racing's richest race, the Eureka, in the middle part of September. But Brock Nealing's ready to go. G'day, Brock.
Good morning, Gareth. How are you, mate?
Good, thank you, mate. Is it a relief that you got this track up and running once again and ready to go for Saturday?
It is, yeah. We've a lot of hard work's gone into it, and there's been a lot of patience by the industry, which we're very grateful for. So, it's been a little while now, sort of 8 or 10 weeks where we've sort of took our time to assess what we deemed the issue was, and sort of went the ultimate route of digging out a section of the track and replacing it in the middle of the home straight. So that work's been completed about 4 weeks ago. We just gave the track a little bit of time to establish, being such a pressure point in the track, and probably doing it at the worst time of year when it's so cold with the Kikuyu, just needed a little bit of time. But we're pleased that all the testing, the gallops that we've done, we had 3 heats of the trials on Monday on the course proper, and all the riders and stewards are very happy with it. So we're really pleased to be back to business.
I guess it was a situation where you just had to get it right this time around, no matter how long it took. Yeah,
exactly. And that was the general consensus from the industry. Like I said, everyone's been very patient, from the jockeys to the trainers, and Rawa. Everyone's been on the same page with this. As you sort of get one go at it, and we're pleased that all the testing of the gallops particularly, and the feedback from the riders has been really positive. So we can't wait to get back into it on Saturday.
So, is it like bomb-proof now that you won't have another problem with this section of the track? Or you can't guarantee that? We're confident with all the testing that we've done, that we've done the right thing. We've replaced that section of the track from the turf and the profile from a different section of the track, so it couldn't be more consistent. We are going to monitor the workload of it. Being this time of year, you get very little growth or root development in the track, so we don't want to rip it apart early on, particularly with rain on the day. So we're going to monitor those two things, and we've moved next Wednesday's race meeting back to Belmont, just with the pressure that's been on the provincial clubs. They're getting a bit tired, so we've moved next Wednesday back, but we'll go every second Wednesday now until the end of August, just to monitor that workload on that section, and then go from there, Wednesdays and Saturdays through September, all things being well. Do you think now that, I know you got that sand fibre track at Bunbury, is it time now that WA looks at having a synthetic track? Could you build one at Belmont or Ascot?
I'm not sure. It's probably a bit above my pay grade. I know we've put a second corner in at Pinjarra. Bunbury's been heavily invested in. So there are tracks that are capable of doing some more race meetings like they've proven. Obviously, Bunbury's probably been on the worst end of some rain on the day, which has probably cost them and probably tipped them over the edge at the moment. But the feedback from that sand fibre track at Bunbury was positive. We're going to have another couple of race meetings on that over the next month. But we'll see where we land with that. It's I'm not sure, but we're really pleased. Pinjarra is going really well, particularly with that second corner and that 1,000 metre straight.
And the last one before we let you leave, how's Ascot recovering over the winter months?
Really well. We're probably a bit ahead of schedule with that. Again, like that section at Belmont, you don't get a lot of growth this time of year. So, that was a bit of discussion around that. Why couldn't we have gone back there? Well, we do a heavy renovation, and it takes sort of 4 or 5 months this time of year to get that back, just being so cold and using the straight Kikuyu surfaces here, with particularly at Ascot through those warmer months, we don't oversow that, so we just let the Kikuyu recover naturally. We're not in the position to hold a race meeting there now, but it definitely will be come mid-October when we go back.
Appreciate your time, Brock. Well done with it all. I think everyone's appreciative of the situation that you've been in, and you've been able to, I reckon, do it the best possible way, in a way to make sure you get it right. Spend some time on it, and looking forward. I think every punter who loves punting on WA racing can't wait to see Belmont back in action on Saturday.
Yeah, thanks, Gareth. We can't wait as well.
Good on you. Thanks for that, Brock. There's Brock Neely, and you can tune into Racing WA TV on 7+, your ultimate destination for everything racing in the West. It's not only 7+ these days, it's also racing.com. Mickey Harvey, one of the biggest owners in the sport of harness racing, will join me next to talk about Hesitate gaining a slot in harness racing's richest race, the Eureka.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up with Gareth Hall, 15 minutes past 9. We just had Aussie Kerr and Johnny O'Neill talk about their star galloper Jimmy Starr getting a slot in the Everest, which is the world's richest thoroughbred race, on grass anyway. And then yesterday was also announced in harness racing slot race, the Eureka with Harness Racing New South Wales, that exciting 3-year-old Hesitate will be going around for Mick Harvey in Johnny Singleton's slot. Harness Racing New South Wales, of course, the home of Carnival of Cups, where Australian music royalty meets quality harness racing action. And Mickey Harvey, the owner of Hesitate, joins me now. Mick, congratulations. How about that?
Yeah, no, thanks, Gareth. It's pretty exciting to get in the slot race for sure and team up with Singer. It's exciting.
So how did you go about getting that deal done?
Well, I didn't have a whole lot to do with the early part. There was obviously the horse has been doing well, and we had a bit of a feeler out and from a few different people. And Jason Turnbull has spoken to Luke McCarthy, who's a trainer driver of the horse, and introduced through Graham Campbell and Singo's team, and that's how it started. And a couple of messages backwards and forwards, and I was actually overseas on a Europe holiday, and we agreed to meet up on last Saturday at the Inter-Dominion Carnival up in Brisbane, and caught up, and that's how it happened. Yeah, very happy.
So it's only eligible for Australian bred horses. So that leaves out a few of the Kiwis. Are you confident that a 3-year-old can win Eureka this year, like your horse, Hesitate?
Yeah, I think we do have a little bit of confidence because I think this crop of 3-year-olds is exceptional. That's taking nothing away from the 4-year-olds. The race is a slot race for 3 and 4-year-olds, Australian bred horses. We seen last year the favourite for the race this year, Bay of Biscay, was a 3-year-old last year, and he ran a really credible second to our trainer, driver Luke McCarthy, driving Don Hugo. So I think the 3-year-olds this year they do have an advantage as well. They get preferential draw, and so that's also in our favour.
Yeah, he was mighty, I thought, in the Derby. I don't know if you should have handed up, and in the end you did, and you finished second. The Kiwi Ribera was pretty good. Has he come through that race well?
Yeah. I was on track, and look, he was fine. It was over a fair distance. The Benangle race is a 2,300 metre race, so he certainly can finish off like they got home in a 26 quarter. So, very, very happy with him. He pulled up terrific, and the good news is, I suppose, that we've got the slot early, so we know we're in the race, and we can target the race now and get him all 100% for the night.
You're a very successful businessman, Mickey boy. So I'll ask you a question. I don't want to get too controversy, but you breed a lot of standard bred horses in this country, and you go to a lot of the stallions, and the Eureka's been funded from the stallion tax in a way from Harness Racing Australia. What's your thoughts on all of this? Some like it, some don't. Personally, I think you need to have races like this to give people ambition. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, thanks, Gareth.
Don't
I
sit
agree.
on the fence, Mick. You run every business that you do, and you're on every board of from bowls to your local community. So you love being the boss. So I'd love your opinion on this.
No, I'm with you. I think that the slot race is fantastic. I think we need it. It adds profile. You get people like, John Singleton and different people involved, and I think it helps harness racing. So I think the slot race is great. I think the funding can be looked at. I mean, there's many people, that are breeding horses that think that the money that's for the stallion taxes should be, spread across the industry, which is a fair argument. So I think it's probably time for a review and to look at how that's funding.
How would you fund the race then, Mick?
Oh, I think that you look at the sponsorship contribution and the slot itself. I think that's part of the the ways you look to funding the race for sure. And there might be a different percentage of contribution in there.
Yeah.
From the thing. That's what I think that would be probably a more equitable split.
What about Kingman? Can he win on Saturday? First up for Luke McCarthy?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I'm pretty happy to see him run at Menangle. That's for sure. It's terrific. Yeah, look, get him. He's a first horse I bred, so I hold him very deeply to me. Yeah.
Yeah, you're living the dream, Mickey boy. So we wish you the best of luck. Well done with Hesitate. Just having a look at the market. He's at a good each way price, and you've got the right man in the gig who's training that horse, and you're starting to build up a pretty good team. Any horses that we should be keeping an eye out on?
I think you just mentioned Kingman. I think he'll hopefully he's got some picket fences next to his name going to Menangle on the bigger track. I'd like to see that. I think Hesitate in this race is a very exciting horse. He's come a long way. He's always had the ability. He had a few quirks, but under Luke's care and guidance there, training him, I think he's potential superstar of the sport, and I'm hoping that's the case. Luke's been there, done that. He's driven the last 2 Eureka winners, and he's trained last year's winner as well. So I think we're in the right camp, and he's endorsed him. So they're the 2 main ones at the moment for sure. I've got a filly called Ripples.
Oh yes,
she's a 2-year-old filly. She's back in work, so she'll be produced towards the end of the year.
Beautiful, Mickey. Thanks for joining us, mate. You're a bloody star, and good luck with Hesitate heading towards the Eureka.
Thanks, Gareth. Cheers, mate.
So big news there in harness racing with Hesitate getting his slot in the Eureka. We'll take a break. Bag of tips next. In fact, we'll take the news, then we'll come back with bag of tips.
Powered by Signet, making SEN News headlines. The music world is paying tribute to the godfather of heavy metal, Ozzy Osbourne, who has passed away aged 76. The federal government promising a 20% cut to HECS debts as the new federal parliament begins considering proposed legislation today. 4 telcos have been issued formal warnings for failing to comply with rules designed to protect customers struggling to pay their internet and phone bills. And a global study has found psychedelics and cannabis could positively manage symptoms of eating disorders. Coming up, sen.com.au sport. A landmark case looms at the AFL tribunal tonight that's divided footy pundits. The AFL is seeking a 3-game ban for D's backman Stephen May over a collision with Carlton's Francis Evans. In rugby, the British and Irish Lions have defeated a First Nations Pacifica team 24-19 at Marvel Stadium, and all eyes on Kingston, Jamaica for this morning's T20 match between the West Indies and Australia.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. The Giddy Up Bag of Tips for Oz Equipment Rentals. Supplying equipment to the construction, mining and roadworks industries. OzEquipment.com.
Let's run through our tips here today for bag of tips on this Wednesday morning. All thanks to Bet365, because it's never ordinary when it's brought to you by Bet365, and you'll get the best payout across all 3 national totes. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. The Ultima Hotel in the heart of the Mallee, just down the road from Swan Hill. Swing by for a cold beer. And Oz Equipment Rentals, supplying equipment to the construction, mining and roadworks industries, OzEquipment.com. Mickey Gadden joins us. We're racing at Canterbury today on a soft 7, the rails true. Mickey, take it away with your place.
Yeah, a bit of overnight rain, G. So we're going to go to race 1, take advantage of that. Horse by Deep Field, Miss Jones for Richard and Will Freeman. Meets the favourite, the current favourite from the peak, 2.5 kilos better after the 3 kilo claim to William Stanley, which is a big plus. The only issue is this horse is just a little bit slow out last time, but made good ground late. It goes up 100 metres here and had the better of from the peak. So I don't understand, given the weight swing. Yes, there's an apprentice aboard, but this horse looks like she's a bit better than from the peak currently. From the peak might be better down the track, but at this setup, more than happy to lean the way of Miss Jones. And that horse we speak of, SP $2.50 last start, you're now getting $4.60, G. So very easy bet to have in the first. Race 1, number 2, Miss Jones. I'll take you to race 3. I was very keen on Shalar Gold yesterday when we did the midweek masterclass. I think I'm going to get easier for it now. Smaller field, plenty of horses have come out and suggest that Shalar Gold will be looking to jump, lead, win there with Joshy Parr aboard. Obvious query is now first up on more of a rain affected track, but we'll just take that on head first. Bjorn Baker Polish should get the job done. Race 6, horse number 10G, the Replicant. When we picked this up yesterday, it was around $9 into $4.20 now, which is a career peak on a rain affected track last time. That was a heavy A. Rinse repeat of that. Same setup here. Area 1, Alicia Collett, land leaders back. Only need a bit of luck, and I suspect that the Replicant will be getting the job done. Metaphorically was the other horse we were going to chop out on a 2-bet play. I still think that's the case. I think 10 can beat the 1G to round out the tips for Canterbury.
Love your work, Mickey. We'll catch up with you a little later on. Thanks for that.
Cheers, mate.
Dean Watling from DeanWatling.com joins us. Dino, take it away with your specials at Canterbury.
Good morning, G, and to all the listeners. We'll kick off in race 4, number 5, America. G, a really smart filly that's on the rise. She went 2 from 2 last preparation. Still looked pretty green in those 2 wins, G, so we wanted to see her furnish, and furnish she has, looking at her 2 recent trials. This isn't a very strong benchmark 64 for Wednesday grade at all. I'd suggest a lot of these will probably hit their mark, where she's the one on the up. Should find the rails, leaders back, 2 smart trials, and Peterson is firing. So race 4, number 5, America is the best of the day. G, we moved to race 6. Race 6, number 6, La Roja. Sticky first trial, didn't know what to make of it, but the second trial was really, really sharp, sort of split with Your Blessings and Tulleries, who both ran outstanding on the weekend, albeit beaten somewhat by the pattern. So I think La Roja finds a 1-1 today, G. Metaphorically looks way too short in this, and I thought La Roja was the value bet on the day. So they're the 2 Peter Snowden double, hopefully, G-Man.
Beautiful. So we can get the big double there, and hopefully we can have plenty of cash for this weekend, heading into the weekend preview tomorrow, mate. So race 6, number 6, and race 4, number 5, your place, mate. And Peter Snowden's on fire at the moment as well. We'll catch up with you for trial time in just a moment, Dino.
We'll give for a G. I'm on camera too, so I'll go make myself look up.
Yeah, make sure you put a shirt on. See ya.
Good,
Mitchie Lewis joins us. We're on the Hillside track at Sandown today, and also Murray Bridge. G'day, great man.
Morning, G. How are you this morning?
Good, thank you, mate. We'll start with Sandown.
Yeah, look, both tracks I think should play pretty fairly. You'll be able to make up a bit of ground, a big long straights at both. So a little bit like we mentioned on midweek masterclass yesterday, G. Race 1, horse number 9, Mini Angel. This is why the midweek masterclass is important. I think 420 when we mentioned yesterday into 270. I thought it gets a good run here. It looks close enough the way it's been finishing off. Like the setup, leaving Las Vegas has been a little bit hard to trust and going to have to do some work late. So we're leaning the way of Mini Angel here.
So that's 480 into 280. Yeah, good shopping there. What else have you got for us?
Race 3, number 2, Takeko. Like this horse first up. She's undefeated first up. And for me, there were a few scratchings out of the race, which just makes it a little bit easier for her. I was worried she might get caught a little bit wide, but I think really only Mrs. Archibald pushes forwards with her. So she finds a good position. Granted, she's probably better over the 1,200 metres, but I think first up 1,000 metres here for a horse that goes fresh, she should be fine. And then in the last G, the each way play, race 8, number 2, Falcon of Malta, pushed it last start. It ran 5th on the heavy truck. I thought it was in a good position in run, but might not have appreciated the track that day. So a little bit better ground here, and again, a really good race map. So it's a heavier the place play, but I think Falcon of Malta, who's down in grade from last prep, should be close enough. And I'm still caught up on his really impressive trial at Colac.
Beautiful. What about at Murray Bridge?
Yep, so Murray Bridge, good little meeting there again. I think there's value in racing up number one, Captain Harry. I thought he was really good out of a well-rated maiden here at Murray Bridge last time behind Mr. Rumble. So I think fitter now, 900 up to 1,100 metres suit. Any improvement off that run, I think he's well placed. And then bookend in the car G, race 8, number 1, Kateem's Club for Stephen Theodore. I like these horses dropping down in grade. It's been going around in Metro 70s and things like that, right back down to a BM56. So I think it's here looking for its right race. Got a bit of weight, but Alicia Warren over there takes some weight off, and I think the team's club on the Murray Bridge track set up well.
Beautiful, mate. Go and dominate. Thanks, Mitch. We might make Mini Angel our Bet365 boost horse today. Race 1, number 9 at Sandown, if that's okay.
Yeah, love it, mate. No reason why not to. So good luck all.
You're a beautiful man. Thanks for that. There's Mitchy Lewis. Let's take a break. Sam Hyland, Peter Anthony and Butch Castles, along with the tips from Darren Carroll and Amanda Rando. They'll all join me next to wrap up Bag of Tips this Wednesday.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. We're going through our winners today, hopefully with bag of tips, trying to find them. And you can check out racingqueensland.com.au where Queensland is racing today. We're at Eagle Farm. We're on a soft 5. The rail's out 12 metres the entire course. Semi Highland, hello to you, mate.
Hello, Gareth.
Take it away with your best bets, please.
Radio, race 2, number 6, Equine Art. This mare, she's had a few goes, but I think today she can get the money. I just hope he rides it a bit cold. Like the other day, she was 3 deep in an 800, punching the breeze, and just had it tough enough. And I backed her a few starts ago when she was ridden back in a race at Ipswich, an 1100, and I tell you what, she should have won. It went to the line hard held and never really got off the bit. So I think if you ride her from that good gate, ride her 4th, 5th, 6th off a hot tempo, because they'll go quick, ride her to run on. I reckon she can get the money at $8. Then race 3, number 5, Velozes for Tony Dolan and Ange Jones. Yet to win this preparation, but has won a race before. It's always honest enough. It's drawn a good gate. I think it'll be sharp enough. It'll love the 1400. And then in race 8, number 4, Victory Command. This will appreciate getting out to the 1800. Big track suits. Pacifiers on for the first time. It's a blast from the past, the old pacifiers. Yes. I don't know what they do, pacifiers, but anyway, it might pull something out on it. Good staying type, and I reckon he could get the money. So we're going race 2, number 6, race 3, number 5, and race 8, number 4.
Beautiful. That's at Eagle Farm today. Love your work, Sammy. Catch up with you a little later on.
On you go.
Tune into Racing WA TV on 7+, your ultimate destination for everything racing in the West. Pete Anthonys joins us. We're at Pinjarra Park this Wednesday. G'day, Pete.
Yeah, g'day, Gareth.
What do you like there today?
A bit of a cautious meeting overall. There's up to 30 mils of rain forecast during the day, so track's already a soft 7, expecting they get to heavy at some point. So looking at the wet track form, and the one I've come up with is in race 8, number 7, Cosmic Eclipse. Pike sticking with the mare. She's a daughter of Deep Field, so shouldn't have any real issues there in the wet. I'm expecting there'll be a race to the outside fence as well, so the wide gate looks suitable there. Just something on that horse. I've got her marked a bit shorter, and on what looks a pretty difficult day otherwise, I thought she was one of the better bets on the card. So that's race 8, number 7.
What about On to Brute in that race?
Look, no great opinion, to be fair. The inside gate's enough to put me off. Yeah, I'm really expecting, as we've seen the last probably 3 or 4 meetings, they'll basically just be peeling on the corner and going to the outside rail. So, yeah, we'll see what pattern unfolds and if the rain actually hits, because I think I've had about 3 of these devastating forecasts over the last month, and I think 2 of them have missed. So we'll wait and see what happens.
All right, brother. Thanks for that, Pete.
Thanks, Gareth.
Tune into Racing WA TV on 7+, your ultimate destination for everything racing in the West. Loveracing.nz, your home of New Zealand thoroughbred racing news, previews, reviews, profiles, and more. 54 minutes away from the first race at Cambridge. Butch Castles, hello to you.
G'day, Gareth.
Where do we start with your plays, mate?
Yeah, Cambridge on the synthetic today. Look, I think we'll take a couple of short prices. We'll go to race 3 and thought this was as close to a good thing as I'd seen for a while. Number 1, Hakushu. Michael McNabb will ride for Stephen Marsh. It's short enough, $1.85, but really should be a put-in-take-out job. Drawn barrier 2 will go forward, and if it half replicates what it did last time, it'll be far too good for them. Just brained them when last seen course and distance, and can see very little reason why it couldn't do the same again today. So that'll do to start us. Race 3, number 1, Hakushu. Race 5 out of the same stable. Mulan Adish. Race 6, out of the same stable. Number 7, Mulan Adish. Look at one here, resuming over 1,300. Then ran 3rd. Good run at Ruakaka over the mile. Gets up to 2,000 metres today. Lands in a race that's not overly strong. Probably one other genuine contender being number 8, La Corrada. But I just think it's got a little bit of something about a Moulin Ardèche, much better than a one-win horse, and we should see it today. So take the 2 out of the Stephen Marsh stable, $1.85 for Hakushu in race 3, and $2.40, race 6, number 7, Moulin Ardèche.
Good on you, Butch. Thanks for that, mate.
Good man.
There's Butch Castles, loveracing.nz, your home of New Zealand thoroughbred racing news, previews, reviews, profiles and more. He's been on fire, as Big Fella pointed out just before, Darren Carroll. He likes race 2, number 1, CC Lou, and race 4, number 9, Nothing Sweeter at Bendigo tonight. And Harness Racing New South Wales, the home of the Carnival of Cups, where Australian music royalty meets quality harness racing action. At Bathurst, race 1, number 3, Time to Talk, race 3, number 7, Mike Ross, and race 5, number 10, Windy Hill Tara, the tips at Bathurst for Amanda Rando. Trial time will be coming up next. Matty Morton, trial guy, and Dean Watling will join us to go through their top 5 trials from a big couple of days there at the trials right across the country.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Now on Giddy Up, it's time for Trial Time with Dean Watling.
And Matty Morton joins us as well. He'll kick off proceedings. Dino's not far away, but we had some brilliant set of trials there yesterday in Sydney especially. And Matty Morton, trial guy, joins us on this Wednesday morning. G'day, Matty boy.
Good morning, Gareth. It's all quiet on the Western Front here, but plenty of action up in Sydney yesterday.
Yeah, so let's start. I'm looking forward to this. Horse number 5 in your top 5 from this week, Rosalind Star, which was in trial 5 there at Randwick yesterday.
Yeah, talented sprinter Rosalind Star has been brought along slowly after a long enforced layoff. Yesterday was his third trial this time in, and J-Mac took the saddle on this occasion. Yes. He displayed his customary speed under some restraint and looks ready to go now. A winning return definitely looks to be on the cards for this horse, who's probably been in work over 4 months already.
So this is for Johnny O'Shea, Tommy Charlton, Rosalind Star. I'll find out where this horse is going. Then we go to Pakenham, Heat 11, Escher.
Yes, in Heat 11 at Pakenham, once race debut winner Isha looks to a better than average ability, and she displayed it again in her first engagement this time in on Tuesday morning. She jumped well and sat outside the leader before going clear with ease to win clearly. She has plenty of natural talent and will be very hard to beat again first up this campaign.
She's beautifully bred too by Extreme Choice out of I'm a Star. So what kind of potential do you think she's got there, Matty?
Look, from what I've seen of her, and particularly the way she went yesterday, I think she's got to be up around, a mid-80s horse at least.
Okay. Then we go to Extractor, which was for Michael Freedman in trial 1.
Yeah, Extractor. He was a star-filled trial, that one, and plenty of quality Group 1 performers. But the one that caught my eye on this occasion was the lightly race 2-year-old from the Michael Freedman camp. He jumped okay and was kept wide early. He powered up around the bend, but Regan Bayless took hold and kept plenty in hand. I expect him to lose his maiden stages swiftly this campaign, and Extractor could be a big improver among the 3-year-old ranks this spring.
And then number 2, Evaporate, which we know pretty well, smart young horse for Lindsay Park, that was in Heat 4 at Flemington.
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of Evaporate, and he didn't disappoint again on Friday morning. Widest of all, he worked forward and soon took command before winning under a good hold. It was an enthusiastic performance that was full of merit. It wasn't the quickest time of the day, but I expect Evaporate to be hard to beat wherever he goes first up.
And we might get a drum roll in just a moment, but number 1. Take it away, Matty Morton. Your number 1 trialer.
Yes. Number 1 trialer. I've always been a big fan of Autumn Glow, and the love affair continued yesterday morning. She worked with plenty of enthusiasm and has returned in excellent shape, displayed a good turn of speed before Karen McAvoy applied the brakes, and she was beaten just over a length and looks set to continue her unbeaten run this campaign.
Any horses?
Certainly an eye-catcher there yesterday, Autumn Glow.
Yeah, Autumn Glow. So she looks like, talking to Chris Waller this morning, she'll be set for an Epsom. So that's her plan, I reckon.
Okay, well, I'm not surprised they want to step her up in trip.
Yeah.
But she really was keen there yesterday, and probably a little bit fresher than what they wanted. So they're going to give her another trial or two, I expect, before she steps out.
Yeah, they'll have one more trial with her. What did you just quickly make of the other stars like V. Sistina, Fangirl, Tom Kitten and Aliana?
Well, 3 out of those 4 did very little and were asked to do very little. The other one, Tom Kitten, was okay.
Yeah.
Again, he wasn't asked to do very much. It wasn't very revealing as far as they went. I thought probably Fangirl went the best of those lots.
Okay, so that's Fangirl. Karen McAvoy rode her. She'll be set for the wings first up, and then she'll be aimed up at the King Charles. Now, tell me this, Matty Morton, what are we backing today?
Well, not just what are we backing today, but trial guy became a Trots trial guy on Monday night at Bendigo. If anyone wants to hear 4 of the worst race calls you've ever witnessed in your life, then get a hold of those.
Yes.
There's a lot of silence.
Okay.
They didn't do me any favours with the colours.
Yeah.
I think in 2 of the heats, they all had either blue or white or purple and white, and they were very hard to make out in the darkness at Bendigo.
Yes.
But today, we've got 2 at Sandown from recent lists.
Yep.
And the first one is race 3, number 2, Takiko.
Yep.
And for the big camp, and in race 7, number 6, New Sovereign.
So race 3, number 2, race 7, number 6. They're the tips there from Matty Morton for trial time today. Go and get it, mate. We appreciate your time. It's an exciting time for you trial watchers.
Absolutely.
All right, mate. Thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
There's trial guy there, Matty Morton. So just going through his top 5. Dean Watling's about to join us. 5, Rosalind Star. Number 4, Isha. 3, Extractor. 2, Evaporate. And 1, Autumn Glow. Dean Watling's ready to go now. G'day, Dino.
Want to get G?
What did you make of those trials there at Randwick especially?
Yeah, they were nice, G. It's obviously the first hit out for a lot of these gallopers, and obviously Chris Waller had his hand in majority, and we know Chris first trials there to put the miles in the legs. So I think second trial will be more intriguing, G. I thought the watch was on Via Sistine. I thought she looked probably the one who's come back maybe needing that trial and needing the second trial as well. I know it was over the short distance, but she's generally a little bit sharper than that, so expect her to progress sharply into her second trial. Everyone ticks the box, G. Wait for the second trials to get our final assumptions there.
Let's get your top 5. We'll start with number 5 this time. Transgress for Michael Friedman in the famous Friedman colours.
He doesn't have a lot in those colours, G, but when he does, they're often juveniles. And this is a juvenile, $650,000 purchase out of the smart mare overstep. So Full Brother Debuts. Interesting first trial, G. Wasn't asked for a whole lot, but what I did notice visually was how strong and well built this colt is. Second trial was in really good company, G. And what I like to do is build that sort of form guide you could suggest at the trials, and then we take that to race day and sort of get a little bit of leg up on the bookies. So trialled against a horse that we black booked last week, Daring Fellow.
Yes.
As good, if not better, than under that horse undertaking on the turn and then working smartly to the line. So Transgress, that's 2 trials now, ready for the races, and I love Michael Friedman with these juveniles, as you know, G.
See, Ronnie Duffus, in the ownership of that galloper there. Transgress. Rosalind Star is number 4. Another one for Michael Friedman. We've seen this 2-year-old by Sue Star at the races before.
Yep, really nice trial, G. I don't know if you can get your memory all the way back to its debut behind Gatsby's at Canterbury. 2 smart gallopers, then went on to win its second start, then thrown in the Group 3 kindergarten stakes behind Espionage. So it showed a lot as a 2-year-old, and we referenced that kindergarten form. Now, there's 2 ways to look at this, G. 68 weeks off, you can be concerned by that. Or I like to take the positive approach and suggest that sometimes these 2-year-olds is a blessing in disguise when they have that long layoff leading to 3-year-olds. Some 2-year-olds with that taxing campaign don't come back, but Rosalind Star with that break, she looks like she's in outstanding order. 3 trials, so on Shay and Charlton are onto it. Obviously off that long layoff, you want to get the miles in the legs, and Rosalind Star, I think she'll progress to the 4-year-old ranks, and the new season straight up to listed group company. She looks like she's back, and cherry on top, G. J-Mac was in the saddle for the latest, so that's a nice push in itself.
Yeah, so that's Rosalind Star there. Who's your next one there? I might have mucked up this order.
That was meant to be number 2, G, but we can go on. We'll move to Frostbite. Frostbite's another one for Michael Friedman, half to Tenley Biscayne Bay, which the listeners out there might know. Obviously one on debut. This is its second preparation, then mixed its form second and third up. It looks like it's come back in great order. It looks a speedy, on-pace type for Michael Friedman, who I think can get the job first up. I don't think it's a well beat. I don't think it's your group and listed company, but I think thrown in that sort of benchmark 70 system as a 3-year-old, I think it can win first up somewhere in the sort of metro, maybe the midweeks there, Frostbite.
Tagaloa filly Hoaloa is number 3 for David Pfeiffer.
Another one, G, not a world beater, but I think we might get a price. And we referenced it with Trengris off the top. I think if we can build this form guide at the trials, in and around the right horses, you can obviously get a leg up come race day. So trial the latest behind the playwright. We know that's a nice 2-year-old. And Aloha looks to be similar vein. Didn't quite handle the debut performance, but David Pfeiffer, he's a trainer who does get these juveniles up and going in their early preparation. So ready for the races now, G. Might not be the Metro, might be the provincials, but all we need is a win first up from that galloper.
And number one's a Viable, trained by Chris Wallen. We asked Chris about her today, this daughter of Frank Hall.
He tried his best to pour a bit of cold water on it. He tried to put her under wraps.
She's an autumn 3-year-old, which is unfortunate for you because you told us all to jump on the $34 with Bet365 for the flight stakes, which he might be out.
He also suggested that Lady Shenandoah was that type of 3-year-old too, and she took out a flight stake. So, do respect. Obviously, Chris.
I believe in you, Dean. I believe in you.
I like that, G. She's the one that caught the eye. I tried to hide her yesterday in a tweet, but all the tweeters out there like to chime in on the comments and took the price. But I think she's a great futures bet. It's a pre-noms market for the flight stakes too, G. So she doesn't get nominated, you get your money back. So she's around $34 there for Bet365. The other one we mentioned last week, Artistic Venture, comes through the same heat the other day. She's around 21. That price went off yesterday. I think we could take both those as futures bets. But Viable looks a really nice filly, G. From the right camp, right stable, right everything. I think he even mentioned Chris is in the ownership of her.
Yes, yep. So there you go. He's the first man mentioned too. Don't know what that means, but so they're the two future plays. Just recap those future plays for us before we let you go.
Yeah, there's three Gs. The first two flight stakes pre-noms market in Viable and Artistic Venture, $34.21. And the other one from last week, our number one performer was Cantiamo. She's $101 in the Golden Rose. She trolls again this morning at Gosford. And your best mate is headed up there to jump aboard her. So I think that's a nice push. Heat 12 today. Cantiamo at Gosford. So I'd be taking the $101 about that on Bet365.
I love it. We will do that right now. We'll get that clipped up. We'll make a star of you. We appreciate you coming on the show as always, Dino. Catch up with you tomorrow for the weekend preview.
Thank you, J-Man. Enjoy.
Go and get him. There's Dean Watling there. That is trial time on this Wednesday morning. It's quickly approaching 10 o'clock. Love it or leave it. Coming up next.
Powered by Signet. Good morning, I'm Nath Gardner with SEN News. Cutting student debt by 20% is on the agenda in federal parliament today with legislation to be introduced. Reducing HECS debt was one of PM Anthony Albanese's election pledges. On 9, opposition leader Susan Lee says the coalition is considering whether to support the move.
We all should be focusing, and I know we are, on the main job of opposition, which is holding the government to account, working very hard for the Australian people.
Sensitive IVF data has been leaked in a major cyber breach. Australian fertility giant Genea has confirmed patient records were stolen and published on the dark web months after a February hack. Despite notifying affected clients last week, the clinic won't say how many were exposed, only that an unauthorised third party accessed its systems. Melbourne University is set to hire an anti-vaping officer that will create a vaping prevention plan hoped to make a lasting impact on student health. It comes with a yearly pay packet of over $100,000. Testing begins today on the Fitzroy River in Queensland's Rockhampton to see if it's suitable for rowing events for the 2032 Olympics. And rock royalty has left the stage with Ozzy Osbourne passing away aged 76. The Prince of Darkness died surrounded by family, ending a legendary career that helped forge the heavy metal sound. The Black Sabbath frontman was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 2019. Coming up next, SEN Sport. Australia has chosen to bowl first in the second T20 against the West Indies at Kingston Sabina Park. The visitors lead the series after winning Game 1, and the AFL may have to compromise next year's semi-final fixture due to a possible clash with the LA Rams match at the MCG. Friday, September 11 is shaping as a potential date for the NFL game.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. On Giddy Up, it's time to have your say. Are you loving it or leaving it?
Time for Love It or Leave It. 4 minutes past 10. Love to get your feedback as well. 0499 736 736. Let's welcome in the team. Mickey Gannon, hello to you.
Good morning, G.
And hello to you there, Semi Highland. Good morning, Semi.
Is it working?
Hello,
Gareth.
Oh, it is working now. I always get nervous.
Sammy.
I always get nervous when people say, "Is it working or not?" But thank God it is working, and we could hear you.
Always working, Gareth. I am always working.
There's plenty of topics to discuss today, and there's a few that have been kicked off really when we had a chat to Chris Waller this morning about a few of his stable stars. So this wasn't on my list, so I apologise for this, but we can just have a chat about them before we get into our hot topics. First of all, Autumn Glow. Looks like she's going to be an Epsom horse instead of going down, say, an Everest path. Are you loving that or leaving that, Mickey Gannon?
I love that, G. I think it's a far easier target, isn't it, to win an Epsom than an Everest. So it makes perfect sense to me, and she's got plenty of years to come back and reinvent the wheels of sprint too if they so please, Sammy.
Yeah, she looks pretty exciting horse, isn't she? She is an absolute beauty. So, it'll be interesting to see. But obviously, her first couple of runs there were 1300. So, would she be sharp enough for an Everest anyway?
Yeah.
That's the thing. I would imagine hence the reason that's why Chris Waller's going down that path, because he knows that she wants a bit of a trip.
And that's why she's by the Autumn Sun. So that's I reckon they'll try and get her out to a trip anyway. So the Epsom looks like it's going to be her main aim. You're loving it or leaving it. Gut feel. This hasn't been confirmed yet. I don't know if you listened to that interview with Chris Waller, Semi Highland. It looks like Aliana might be set for a Cox Plate rather than a Caulfield Cup. That's just the gut feel that I got from that interview, Sammy. Are you loving that or leaving it?
Yeah, I mean, who am I to question Chris Waller? That's why his record speaks for himself, and he'd be absolutely all over it, wouldn't he? He knows that he gets out of bed and deals with the horse every day, and he would see things that those from afar can't see. So that's why, I'd be definitely going the way Chris Waller wants to go, it would be more often than not the right way, and that's why he's one of the best in the country, if not the world. So yeah, I mean, he'd be all over it, and it's a big thing, isn't it, for these horse trainers? They get these horses like this that it's so important that they place them well and get the maximum out of them. And so he'll be all over it.
All right then, Mickey G.
I'd say Aliana would turn up and win a Caulfield Cup G if she runs like what we saw at the Derby. I don't think she'll be winning a Cox Plate. So I'll just leave my sentiment there. No, not Chris as a trainer, but does she beat Sistina?
Well, time will tell, I guess. But his belief is he doesn't like to tax those, he calls them fillies, of course, going to their 4-year-old year too much. And that Caulfield Cup, it could be tempting to go on towards a Melbourne Cup after that. But it'd be interesting to see.
Would a weight for age 2,000 metres more likely a fast tempo to be more taxing than a slowly run or an even run Caulfield Cup over 24 handicap?
It's an interesting debate to have. Yeah. I hope she goes to a Caulfield Cup, but it doesn't look like it. Anyway, let's move on. We've got a few other hot topics here. This is a situation that I think most of us will be leaving it. The King Charles a week out before the Cox Plate, Mickey Gannon.
Yeah. I think we can leave that. I don't think we're going to get us. It is what it is, and we get it. But I think you're basically forcing owners and trainers to pick sides, aren't you? It's going to weaken the depth of both races. And I don't think you're ever going to get the best weight for age 2,000 metre horses in the Cox Plate with the programming like that.
Sammy?
Yeah, leave that. It's very damaging, isn't it? And it's been going on for some time now. With these feature race days in Sydney and their make-up races, and then clashing with Melbourne. Are we any better for it? When we look back on it, as I say, it's been going now for a bit. And who wins here? Who's the winner? And is it good for the sport? I mean, they're Sydney's only initiative in recent years is huge prize money and go up against Melbourne's big day. So is it working? I mean, it was only a few weeks ago, or I don't know, a couple of months ago when they were trying to sell Rose Hill. So how much money did they spend on that? That whole exercise. I mean, are they doing great things in New South Wales and Sydney? I don't know. It's a real shame though, because it's very damaging to the sport, and they've they have a couple of meetings a year where they get a crowd, don't they, Sydney? I mean, really, to be honest, they can't compete what goes on down in Melbourne with our Spring Carnival, but anyway, they just sort of have to copy us. So that's.
I think the Everest
maybe bring something new to the table.
Well, the Everest is something new. It's been a genius move. It's been the biggest day in Sydney racing. Clearly, it's probably. Well, I think it's fighting with the Cox Plate as our second biggest race of the year in this country. The King Charles, I know that it's just unfortunate that the date with the rugby league, I think that's the problem. So that's why the Everest day keeps on changing. But I think you should have the King Charles and the Everest 2 weeks before a Cox Plate. And that means it gives the King Charles an opportunity, the King Charles runners an opportunity to go to Melbourne for a Cox Plate. We tried it last year with a few horses like Pride of Jenny. It just couldn't happen. So horses like the horses that you'll miss out on this year, Fangirl and Charwolf, they'll go to the King Charles. This is the market with Bet365 for the King Charles at the moment. So Fangirl, Charwolf will go to the King Charles. Via Sistina and Tino will head to the Cox Plate. There's a chance Autumn Glow maybe go to the King Charles. Lady Shenandoah, I don't know. Mr. Brightside, I reckon Mr. Brightside, I think he's a better miler than he is a 2,000 metre horse. So it'd be fascinating to see which way they go there. Gringotts will be a King Charles horse. Steffi Magnetica will be a King Charles horse. I don't know what they do with Tom Kitten. Aliana will go to a Cox Plate. And then you get out to a horse like Linebacker. You have a look at the Cox Plate market. You'll have Via Sistina and Tino, Treasure the Moment, Eliana, You'll get a Japanese horse. Carl Spackler's a chance to go to the King Charles over the Cox Plate. And then Mr. Brightside, they love the Cox Plate, but I don't know if he's a better chance than a King Charles. Is he, Mr. Brightside? And then, so it's probably nearly 50-50. The Cox Plate will have a better feel, Mickey Gannon, but it's just you could have Char Wolf and maybe a Fangirl could be added to a race like the Cox Plate if the King Charles was 2 weeks apart from the Cox Plate.
As a racing fan, G, if we can get those races 2 weeks apart, we're going to get the best product. And we talk about turnover and the fight for eyes, etc., etc. If we get the best horses lining up 2 weeks apart, then that's going to be better for the racing overall. So find a way to get it done, and we get a better product.
Why don't they do it? Why don't they do that?
I think it's because of the rugby league.
Talk to each other.
Yeah.
So they don't even talk. So they don't even talk to each other.
I think it's going to get better. I think it's going to get better, but
it's like hoping that
yeah. Hey, it's 12 minutes past 10. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with plenty more straight after this. This is Loving It and Leaving It.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. This is Loving It and Leaving It on this Wednesday morning. Sammy Hyland and Mickey Gannon with me. The next question we pose to you two is, are the 3-year-olds wasting their time in this year's Everest? We'll start off with you, Mickey Gannon. You're loving or leaving that?
I'm going to leave it because I don't think necessarily wasting their time. I'd say it could be how many runners in Everest? 12 or
Correct.
14, G.
12.
Well, 11 of them could be wasting their time if Cardigan Rising comes out and runs to his best. But no, I don't think so. I think the 3-year-olds have a good enough record. We've seen, yes, Keith was a 3-year-old, wasn't he?
Yes.
Secret, been thereabouts, growing Empire, Lady Camelot ran third and fourth. So, whilst they're probably not necessarily at this stage from what we've seen from the current 2-year-old crop turning three, any huge standouts, a couple of them might jump out of the ground and be competitive. Whether they can win or not, they probably fall in the category of another 11 horses, Sammy.
Yeah. I don't know what 3-year-olds would be targeted at a race like that.
Looking at the market right now, Beedman's at $17 and Newgate have got a slot, so if he comes up, they might go there. You've got horses like Mahoon at $26, Woden is at $26, so Coolmore usually like to go with one of their 3-year-olds. Tetris for Godolphin at $26. Tempted's another one at $26. I think Tempted will go. Talking to Kira May yesterday, it looks like she might be towards the back end of the carnival. So
Raging Force would be
Devil Knights at 50 to 1. Yeah. So there's a few of them around, Sammy. My argument is with this is that in previous years there could be some handy enough 3-year-olds that were dead set chances in a race like the Everest. If you've got Cardigan Rising and they think he's as good as he is, then are you wasting too many carrots in an Everest, which you might not be able to win, instead of concentrating on a race like a Coolmore, Semi?
It is interesting. I mean, if he travels well and he comes here sound and he loses nothing travelling, well, you think he's the winner of the race, wouldn't you? Cardigan Rising. I mean, it's Cardigan Rising at $1.80, Private Harry $7. So it's I don't know that any of those 3-year-olds will be able to go up against Cardigan Rising. If he travels fit and well, it looks a pretty moderate race, and you'd think he'd be winning.
So Jolly Star still in the market there. If you get Lazad, who's the horse that won the Golden Eagle last year, 1,200 metres, whether that's too short for him, but it'd be great if we could get him out here once again. The question I posed to you here, Mickey Gannon, with Cardigan Rising, I don't know, I never heard this, so I apologise if I'm wrong, but they tell me the team at Corinda Bloodstock, because Tom Wood mentioned this to me the other day on Winners on Saturday. They said, or were quoted saying, that Cardigan Rising won't finish in the top 3. Did you read or hear that quote?
I didn't. But gee,
you've got to get them on.
Maybe they've got some long-term weather forecasting tools that we don't have, and they're predicting a rain-affected track, because I think that's about the only thing even that would stop a 75%, 80% Cardigan Rising from running top 3. Based on what we've seen, based on exposed form. Now, some of these might jump out of the ground, but they need to jump out of the ground considerably. I think Private Harry Umbriasa can be competitive. I also think Jimmy Stark can be competitive, and Luck and Run and track conditions and everything else on the day. Plenty of variables will play their part, but I'd suggest here that Cardigan Rising would be running top 3, Sammy.
That's.
I don't know.
You can only take on board what Zach Burton says, how he speaks about this horse, and I take a lot of notice of that. He thinks it's a dead set superstar, so he's ridden plenty of good horses over the years, and he's right up there with the best. So he's pretty special.
I like the confidence.
Maybe tongue in cheek.
Yeah, it could be. Sean Driver, I reckon it's great. I've just reading a few of his quotes now on the Thoroughbred News publication, and he said if you're going off his track work, you might not sleep at night, but his IQ is through the roof. imagine he'll have his first trial at home. His second trial will come to Sydney, an exhibition gallop, and then we'll go first up. And then Hawksy's been, like, Hawksy respects, I think, Carrying Rising, Wayne Hawks, but they're not stepping down from that challenge. And the test for Carrying Rising, Sam, is that if he turns up, as you pointed out along with Mick, if he turns up, he'll win. He's a beast. Like, he runs time like nothing we've seen, like Hong Kong has never seen before. But he does have to come to a new country. He won't be trained on track. He'll have to get on a float for the first time and go to the races from the Canterbury quarantine base there in Sydney. So there'll be a few different obstacles that he'll have to overcome. He might get a wet track. So those are the challenges when you travel a horse that he'll have to overcome to win an Everest. So were you willing to take $1.80 with those challenges in front of him, Sam? I don't know.
No, I wouldn't at this stage.
No.
You're so far out. Yeah. There's so much can happen, and it's a bit like when you were talking about those in that first question about the Cross King Charles. Those horses you're talking about, they've still got to get there. It's a long way off, and history tells you that horses go wrong and break down, and happens to the good ones more often than not. So it's a long way to go, and there's so much water to go under the bridge. So you'd be game betting now, I would think.
What price would you take for Carrying Rising right now, Mickey G?
$3.
$3. There you go.
And that's probably factoring in all the travel and so got to turn up at A game, and you're also factoring the weather potential of we don't mind a bit of Saturday rain here in Sydney, and factoring all that in. But I think if he turns up here on a good 4 on Everest Day, draws barrier 5, you'll start $1.70.
Do you give Jimmy Starr any hope?
Got to come back and improve for sure. I think all of these at this point in time, G, all 12 horses are a hope. Now, did you say before the private Harry was coming back first up into the Everest? Surely not.
No, he's going to have a couple of trials. I reckon you'll go to maybe the shorts into the Everest.
Yeah,
I reckon.
No, that makes sense. Look, private Harry Briasa, I'd say those two probably have a good significant scope for improvement. But I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of improvement over Jolie Star. Jimmy Star maybe a little bit improvement as well. But I'd say that those two horses, Briasa and Private Harry, are the ones with the most improvement to come. Probably Private Harry a little more, just being a little bit younger.
And you can work out the Everest field now. So Carrying Rising, Private Harry, Briasa, they're the ones that have got starts along with Jimmy Star. So there's the 4.
Would you give a spot now after what we've seen?
Well, he might be able to get one because Jonathan Munns, if he thinks he's going well enough, I reckon he'll be able to do a deal with someone.
He's finished sixth in the Kingston Smith by a margin at 3 lengths, and would they want to turn up here with that horse? Obviously the Goodwood was okay, but this is not the Everest.
So Jolly Star is probably a chance with the Chris Wallace slot, but he's got a few nice 3-year-olds he might want to use for that slot. Autumn Glow won't go there. I'm just having a look at the market there with Bet365. Lady Shenandoah.
What about your feeling, Gareth? She's an artist.
She's an artist, no. I don't think she's good enough just yet there, Sammy.
No
stop.
Chance.
She's not my filly, Sammy. I was just asking the questions. Leave me alone. Don't brush me with that. Don't brush me with that opinion, please. Unbelievable you are. Lady Shenandoah, she's a chance, I reckon. Would you, if you're right then, if you're Chris Waller right now, and I should have asked him that question today, but is Lady Shenandoah or Jolly Star is number 1 seed for the Everest, Mick?
Jolly Star, clearly.
Yeah. Sammy?
Yeah. Do you know what? So much water to go under the bridge. You're still so far out. You wouldn't know which way it's all going to go.
So just for the Everest slot holders, Sunshine in Paris will get a slot as she comes up again. And then there's horses like Headwall. There's horses like Headwall that'll be looking for a slot. Overpass will be looking for a slot. War Machine will be looking for a slot. Giga Kick. And I reckon those are the horses that will be fighting for the final
Who would
spot.
Yulong have, G? Devil Knight?
Yeah, Yulong will probably use Devil Knight. Oh, no, they've got Private Harry. They've got Private Harry.
They got Private Harry.
They've locked up Private Harry. So Coolmore, and who are the other big studs? Godolphin. So they're probably going to use one of their 3-year-olds. So their 3-year-olds.
Temptress would be the go for given they're going to go the other way with Tempted.
He'll get first option, I reckon. Yeah. Anyway, it's interesting debate, and that's what makes the Everest so fascinating in a way, because you're starting to talk about it now in the middle part of July, working out which way the slot holders are going to go. It's 10:28. Let's take the news. We'll come back with plenty more. This is Loving It and Leaving It.
Powered by Signet, making SEN News headlines. Australian fertility giant Genea has confirmed patient records were stolen and published on the dark web months after a February hack. It's unclear how many clients were exposed. Students and graduates will soon see a reduction in their HECS debts, saving hundreds of dollars a year, with legislation being introduced to Parliament today. Russia has agreed to hold a fresh round of talks with Ukraine over the war it launched more than 3 years ago. And Japan has reportedly reached a 15% tariff trade deal with the US. Up next, sen.com.au sport. The second T20 between the West Indies and Australia in Kingston is underway. Sent into bat, the home side on none for 49. That was after 6 overs. Jake Weatherald, meantime, has put his hand up for national selection as an opening bat after making 183 for Australia A against Sri Lanka A in Darwin. And we're just getting word that Collingwood's Beau McCreery has suffered a hamstring injury.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. This is Loving and Leaving It. We might have to get Greg Mulberry on, because I was just going through the slot holders for the Everest, and of course Mulberry Racing was the winner of the I should say Michael Gregg will have to get on, who runs Mulberry Racing. Michael Gregg is new into the racing game. I think he's only been involved anyway since 2019, but he's got a slot. He's done very well in business, and he teams up a lot with Brad Widdop. So it'll be interesting to see what Michael has to say regarding his slot for the Everest, because you can go through the Everest slots now. Trackside Media in New Zealand, they usually go for a New Zealand runner, or like they went with I Wish I Win, which was owned by Waikato Stud. So they might go down the path where they might go with Jolly Star, because she's owned by Cambridge Stud. Newgate and GPI Racing, Chris Waller Racing, Mulberry Racing, which is the interesting one. Coolmore, they'll go with Woden, won't they, Mickey Gannon?
You'd assume so, G, at this stage.
John Camilleri will go with Sunshine and Paris. So Owen Glenn, if Lady of Camelot comes back up again, I reckon that's the way he will go. Briasa is Max Whitney, Cole Madden, Steve McCann and Neil Werrett. The Tab have got Jimmy Starr. Hong Kong and the Australian Turf Club have got Kaiying Rising. Yulong Private Harry and Godolphin will go with one of their 3-year-olds. So the moral of that story, there's only 2 or 3 slots left at the end of the day, Mickey G.
So who picks up Headwall, G?
Well, obviously it's either Mulberry Racing or Newgate, or something goes wrong with one of the others.
Newgate would take Beedman, wouldn't they?
If he comes up, but he's still got a long way to go. I don't think that they will take Beedman if he's not ready. Maybe Newgate. I doubt if Newgate will be. I should say Beedman will be ready for the Everest. I doubt it.
Fair. I think Headwall's a silly price in the Everest, given his body of work. I don't think he, especially the price.
Yeah,
he's right there.
It'll be interesting. He's got to get a slot. Now, the next question.
Well, you get your money back anyway, don't you?
Yeah, you do. So he could be worth an each way chance. He's definitely an each way chance if he can turn up Headwall. And it'd be great for the race, I reckon, if a horse like Headwall does get into a race like that. Let's move on to our next topic. And we had a chat to Kira Ma, and we went through some of the big grand final races. And what I claim as the grand final races in Australian racing is the Everest. I've thrown in the King Charles, the Cox Plate, the Caulfield Cup, the Melbourne Cup, and then you've got the champion races at Flemington, and then the Golden Eagle as well. Kira Ma won $60 million in prize money there this season, which is a record. It's been an astonishing year. But having a look at his team this time around, Semi Highland, you know his team really well. Do you reckon, what odds would you give me for Kira Ma to win one of those races throughout the carnival?
I would think he's a very good chance. Gareth. He's a great trainer. He's got the numbers. He's got big clients with plenty of folding. So they spend it on nice horses, don't they? So I mean, how many trainers do we know from here in Australia have got runners as glorious Goodwood? Gareth.
Yeah, Carl Spack.
He had a run at Royal Ascot. He'll be in all the big ones, and he's got the numbers. They've got plenty of good horses, and I think it'd be big call to think that Kieran's not going to have a huge presence, and whether it be in Sydney or Melbourne.
No, I agree with you.
Races galore.
I'm just saying, I'm leaving it that he'll win one of those big Group 1s this year. It's a big, like the Melbourne Cup, I reckon, is one of his best chances, but Middle Earth is his number 1 seat there. The Cox Plate, I don't think he's got a galloper that can beat Via Sistina. The Caulfield Cup, we don't know too much about what's going to happen there, so he's a chance.
You know what? You're so far. You don't even know if Via Sistina's going to get there.
What I'm saying is,
so much can happen.
I know 100%, but
it's a massive call. It's a massive call to think that you're worrying about Via Sistina, thinking that I don't think he can beat Via Sistina on the Cox Plates. Via Sistina's got to get there.
Yeah, but I reckon there's some. He's got some really nice horses in his stable, but has he got a dead set champ that you can guarantee a victory in those races there, Mickey Gannon?
Nothing to guarantee, but I'd suggest to you that his big grand final success will come from a staying type, whether it's a Caulfield Cup, Melbourne Cup, or Derby or an Oaks, G. And I would, if you get a decent price, I would take that bet. I think he will be
interesting market.
It'll be one of those. It'll be one of those staying sort of tests. Just purely as you said, Bellantina's not there, and you're losing some of that sprinting prowess. But interesting market. I think you'd get $1.95 each side.
But those races are the big grand final races I'm talking about. They're not the Memsey or those type of races. They're like these are the.
I'm suggesting Caulfield Cup,
Melbourne Cup.
So I think he would get the win. He'll get a win on one of those.
Yeah. Be interesting what
His
price
ability to
is.
stayer.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Even a left field stayer is second to that.
10:37. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more of Loving It and Leaving It next.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
0499 736 736 to join our conversation. Tom Kitten's a popular horse. Do you reckon there's a Group 1 in him? Or will Tom Kitten win a Group 1 this campaign? You loving that or leaving that, Sammy?
I'll leave it, Gareth. I'll leave it. I think he's been a pretty well-placed horse. When you go back through the form of that Champion Stakes, he won the Champion Stakes over 2000, Group 1, the format of that's rubbish. And then he won a pretend Group 1 in the All-Star Mile. So it's I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do. He's not exactly a superstar, is he? I mean, he's well tried. He's had 25 starts, and I think he'll need to be delicately placed to try and win another Group 1, because I reckon he just gets a bit of a following because he's got a cute name, Gareth.
Yeah, well, he came of age, I reckon, last spring winning an Australian Cup. I'm just wondering, is the Hill Stakes a Group 1? No, it's a Group 2. That could be his race over 2,000 metres there, Mickey G.
I think definitely in a Group 1, G. I think he's a really good horse. If you go back and have a look at his recent trial, it looks like he's come back bigger, better, stronger than ever. So I think for a period of time there we thought Tom Kitten was a bit of a milk drinker and we didn't have to fear him. But look, got his Group 1 in the All-Star Mile. Last preparation, there's no reason why he can't do it again, and I expect he's come back a better commodity this time, G. Like that trial, I've gone back and watched all his trials. It's his best trial of his career. Look, probably should be as well, right? He's getting older, more mature, but it was good. I thought I think he's come back better.
James Cummings will
join
me
tomorrow. He's only been 2.5 by
VS16,
wasn't he? Queen Elizabeth. It's not a huge margin.
So it'll be like Dan says, the Might and Power could be his race. A few questions coming through. Gareth, are you loving or leaving it? King Charles is the only option for Mr. Brightside for his grand final this campaign. You know, I love that. I reckon that Mr. Brightside's a better miler. Randwick, big track will suit him. He's run some great races there in a Cox Plate, and he just got nosed out by one of the very best in Romantic Warrior. But if you ask me right now, if he's a better chance in a King Charles than a Cox Plate, I would say that I'd rather be backing him in a King Charles than a Cox Plate, Mickey G.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, G. No doubt about it.
Yeah. What about you, Sam?
He's going to be 8 years old, you know.
Yeah, he's got to come back, of course.
Don't worry. I think we've seen the best of Mr. Brightside. He's not going to get better from here. So, I don't doubt what you say, though, Gareth. He's a very good miler, and that you would think would be his pet distance. But he's yet to come up. I mean, he went to Hong Kong and got beaten a mile, and trip overseas, and like I say, it's going to be. He's going to be older again into this preparation, so he needs a bit to go his way. He's been an outstanding horse and very well placed and so well trained, but they don't just keep coming up.
No, and Tino probably give him a little bit of hope that you can have a bad Hong Kong campaign and come back and have a really good campaign back home, but it won't be easy. A few more questions coming through. Power stables or the super power stables like a Ma and Ma. I mean, like a Ma and a Waller, are they good for the game? To tell you the truth, I don't think the people at the pubs on a Saturday afternoon care about the power stables, Mickey G, to tell you the truth. They just want to back a winner.
I don't think you're spot on. I think people at the pubs having a bet don't care. There's a couple views that from an industry point of view though that need to be taken. G, we can't be short-sighted on this. So whilst at the moment it's not a problem. This problem could rear its head in 10 years' time, and we sit back and say, how did this occur? So you're sitting going, who cares? It's great. It doesn't what you're talking about. You're a goose. But from an industry perspective, this is we need much longer than 15 minutes. What would be the long-term ramifications of having a duopoly, so to speak, in a jurisdiction of New South Wales? They would be significant. So, and who's to say that that's what we're in? I don't know. I don't have those answers. But I think throwaway comments like it means nothing it shows lack of foresight.
But I don't think that it's ever going to get to. There's always going to, like, you look at Chris Waller, he's ninth in the Melbourne Premiership, and Kieran Maher's down the. I don't know. What's he in the Sydney Premiership, Kieran, at the moment?
I'd be top five, wouldn't he?
No, I don't think he is top five, Kieran. Just bear with me. Premiership in the Sydney, so New South Wales Metro trainer. Kieran Maher, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's sixth. John O'Shea, Matty Smith are just behind him. Joe Pride at 71. So from an owner's perspective anyway, you can't just have two stables because then what's the point? They're going to be racing against each other and then... So I don't think that will ever work. It'll get to a stage. Personally, I think Maher and Waller, this is as big as they'll get. I reckon.
Well, there you go. Kieran's fourth in Metropolitan, six overall, fourth in Metropolitan. Well, look, if that's as big as they get, then they have their limitations, and that's where they're met. But there's no guarantee it is there? But I just think it's something we need to be aware of. Not necessarily as the punters. That's the punters in the pubs. That's not their job to be aware of that. It's not their job to complain about that. It's the industry leaders, who need to be aware of that. The same way we have it with. Let me put it this way, G. Long-term ramifications of an NRL and AFL not having even balanced teams would be that one or two teams become seriously dominant and fans lose interest in the game. Therefore, they bring in a salary cap to make sure that doesn't happen. That's a very plausible, very simple explanation.
They do that in other, like the English Premier League, I think is the best example for the racing game, where you got some powerhouse stables with the money behind them, and then it's difficult for the other teams to compete. But you get like I think you got to give credit. The Archibalds are getting bigger. Bjorn Baker, he's increasing his numbers. He's had his best season. Waterhouse and Bott will always be strong. Johnny O'Shea and Tommy Charlton have made inroads this season, and Joe Pride, he said he's gone to 70 horses. He's had to go on to 70 horses.
Yeah. Well, this is what I'm saying, Jim. I'm not saying that this is a problem now.
No.
I'm saying that as the industry, as leaders in the industry, you need to be aware that this could be something that could rear its head later on. So you just have to have awareness of it. It is something that in pure economics, in all industries, it's something that the businesses and leaders have to be aware of.
Sammy, we've got about a couple of minutes before a break.
I think it's not even worth talking about. It's you know what, good on them. They've had success. They've got bigger. Their business is going strong. I was a kid. There was Tommy Smith, Bart Cummings, and Colin Hayes, and I remember when David Hayes and Lee Friedman were. Everything they saddled up and winning when I was an apprentice. I mean, it all changes, but good luck to them. They've got a good business model. They're great trainers, and they're winning races. It's
I don't
get more people to the races, more people interested in the races. That's what they need to worry about, let alone worrying about how big stables get. God, I mean, they've only got there because they train winning.
Mickey,
it's
just before we go to a break.
I don't think anyone's knocking Chris Waller or Kieran Maher and the businesses though, Sam. It's just pure economics and just understanding the longevity of the game and making sure it's sustainable. That's the point. And I could guarantee you that the industry leaders would be looking at it.
Let's take a break. We'll come back and wrap up. Love it or leave it on this Wednesday morning.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. We're about to wrap up. Love it or leave it. How many winners today for you, Sammy? If I gave you $100, what would you do with it?
We'll just put it on Victory Command in the last race at Eagle Farm, Gareth. I think $7.50 you can get, and Big Track 1800. Luke Dempsey. Yeah, I reckon we'll go that way. That'll give us get us a drink tonight.
Beautiful, Mickey Gannon.
You can split it up. Canterbury race one, number 2, Miss Jones getting around $5 here. I think should be hard to beat. Take it to race 3, number 2, Shalard Gold, hard to beat as well. And one that was big odds earlier in the week, race 6, number 10, the Replicate, now at $4.40. I think also gets a chance to play on a rain-affected track.
Fields are out for Saturday. Barraquill's back. He's a smart customer for Benny Allen and Team Corstens and Will Larkin. And James Cummings, his final runners for Godolphin. He has Inhibitions and King going around with Jai McNeil and Craig Williams aboard. So those fields are out. That's the feature. Bletchingley Stakes over the 1,200 metres on Saturday. That'll be interesting to see how...
Gareth?
Yes.
I was just looking at these staying races, race 3 and 4, and I thought to myself, is it Patrick Payne, Patrick and Michelle Payne, they are just so strong with their stayers, aren't they? You know, you've got some significant chances in that race 4, and I just thought, they're outstanding trainers of staying horses. I reckon they'll win both of those on Saturday.
And Jimmy the Bear's going around again. He has become the winter wonder. This time he steps up to the 2,400 metres because it's a Vobis Gold Stayers race with good prize money. So another test for him.
I questioned. I thought, will he get 2,400, Jimmy the Bear? I mean, it's his first time at that sort of trip. But then I thought, it's a small field. They'll jump in Canada for the first half anyway. So it won't be like a mile and a half race.
No, you make a very good point as always, Sammy. You go and get him today. Good on you, Mickey G. Thanks, Sammy.
Thanks, G.
And that is Giddy Up for this Wednesday. All thanks to Bet365. Thanks for your company as always. I'll be back tomorrow with Giddy Up Stable Mail, and our first guest there tomorrow will be James Cummings for the final time as Godolphin's trainer here on Giddy Up.